Hello students, welcome to lecture number 5. The topic of this lecture is Hilbert space, and from this lecture onwards the next 4 or 5 lectures will be mathematical tools of quantum mechanics. So in this lecture let us study Hilbert space. So what is Hilbert space? Space is a mathematical term which means it contains some elements. Now whatever we study from the high school, the vector space, it's called as Euclidean space or vector space. So the question is that space not sufficient to study quantum mechanics? The answer is no. So that space is not sufficient to study quantum mechanics. So a new type of space, a new type of linear vector space called Hilbert space was introduced by a mathematician, Hilbert. So let us see what is a Hilbert space. The definition of Hilbert space is a Hilbert space H consists of a set of vectors psi, phi or psi1, psi2, phi1, phi2, phi3, anything, and a set of scalars. It contains a set of vectors and a set of scalars a, b, c or a1, b1, we can denote it by anything. So that is H contains psi, phi, psi1, psi2, psi3, the vectors and the scalars. So this is the set H. Not only this, so this H should satisfy the following 4 properties. H should satisfy the 4 properties. The first one is H is a linear vector space. Second, there exists a scalar product which is finite. Third, H is complete and H is separable. So the Hilbert space has these 4 properties. So let us study these properties one by one. The first property is H is a linear vector space. That is, it follows all the properties of a linear vector space. The first property which a linear vector space should obey is, it's called as addition rule. Suppose we have 2 vectors belonging to H, psi1 belongs to H and psi2 belongs to H. When we add psi1 and psi2, that answer, whatever we get, should also belong to H. So this property is called as closure property. So this is called as closed under addition. This property is called as closed under addition. The second property is psi1 plus psi2 is equal to psi2 plus psi1. So if the order is changed in the addition, so that does not make a difference. This property is called as commutative property. The third property under addition rule is, if we take 3 or more than 3 vectors, psi1, psi2 and psi3. So first, if you group psi1 and psi2, then add to psi3, or group psi2 and psi3 and add to psi1, that does not make a difference, and this property is called as associative property. Now property number 4 is, there exists a 0 vector such that psi plus 0 vector or 0 vector plus psi will give us psi. Fifth property is, there exists an inverse vector such that psi plus negative psi or negative psi plus psi, we get the 0 vector. So this is the addition rule. So in addition to this addition rule, the vector space should also obey the multiplication rule. So again, in multiplication rule, there are 5 properties. The first one is, let us consider a scalar A, and this scalar A belongs to the Hilbert space. Let us consider a vector psi1. That vector also belongs to the Hilbert space, and if you multiply, then whatever the answer we get, that also belongs to psi1. Or take some other scalar B and some other vector psi2. Again, if you multiply, whatever the answer we get, that also belongs to the Hilbert space. or you add these two, A psi 1 plus B psi 2, that also belongs to Hilbert space. The second one is, if you take a scalar and addition of two vectors, so this scalar gets distributed over both the vectors. So this property is called as distributive over addition. So A psi 1 plus psi 2 is equal to A psi 1 plus A psi 2. Or if we have two scalars A plus B multiplied with the vector psi, then we can have A psi plus B psi. These two are called as distributive over addition. The third property is, if we are having two scalars A and B which are multiplied. So here, if A is multiplied with B psi or multiply AB and then with psi, that order doesn't matter, and whatever the answer we get, that belongs to the Hilbert space, and this property is called as associative property. Similar to the addition rule, for each element of Hilbert space, there exists a zero scalar such that 0 into psi or psi into 0 will give back 0. And for each element of Hilbert space, there should exist a unitary scalar I such that I psi or psi I is equal to psi. So these are the properties which are satisfied by linear vector space. Now the Hilbert space is a special kind of linear vector space in which it satisfies all the properties of linear vector space plus three more properties. So first one is, it satisfies all the properties of linear vector space plus three more. Those three properties are, second one is there exists a inner product. Third one is the Hilbert space is complete, and the fourth one is Hilbert space is separable. So let us go to the second property, that is the inner product. So the next property in Hilbert space is, the Hilbert space has a defined scalar product which is strictly positive. So a scalar product is defined as, so let us consider two elements from the Hilbert space, psi and phi, and if they are written like this, this is called as scalar product. So when we find this one, when we evaluate the scalar product, so we get a complex number. So there should be a scalar product, so we get a complex number. So this is a scalar product, and there are some properties of scalar product, that scalar product is not commutative. Scalar product is not commutative, that is psi phi. Scalar product between psi and phi is not equal to the scalar product between phi and psi. So if you change the order, we won't get the same answer. So it's not commutative. Whereas if it is not commutative, it is a complex conjugate symmetric. Scalar product is complex conjugate. So scalar product is complex conjugate symmetric. That is psi and phi. If you take the scalar product between psi and phi, so this will be equal to phi psi, but we have to take the complex conjugate. So if you take the complex conjugate of this one, then that will be equal to this. So if you change the order, then you have to take the complex conjugate. So this is called as complex conjugate symmetric, whereas it is not a commutative. One more property of scalar product is it is linear with respect to second vector. Linear with respect to second vector. Meaning of this is, that is, so if we have a scalar product in this way, phi a psi 1 plus b psi 2. So this is scalar product between phi and a psi 1 plus b psi 2. So this can be written as phi a psi 1 plus phi a psi 2. It can be written like this. And from this, so what is A? A is a scalar. So this scalar can be taken out of the scalar product. So this can be taken out. A phi psi 1 plus B phi psi 2. So the scalars are taken out, and this property is called as linear with respect to second vector. So in this scalar product, so this is our second vector. So you can ask, so many vectors are there, but no, this is a scalar product. So if we do this operation a psi 1 plus b psi 2, we get one more vector. So this is the second vector, this is the first vector. So scalar product is linear with respect to second vector, but it is anti-linear with respect to first vector. Scalar product is anti-linear with respect to first vector. Let us see the meaning of this one. So again, if you have like this, now it is like this: a psi 1 plus b psi 2 with phi. So what is the first vector here? So this is our first vector, this one. So how to write this one? Again, this can be separated: a psi 1 phi, scalar product between a psi 1 and phi, plus b psi 2 phi. Okay. So up to here there is no problem that we have separated the scalar product or inner product like this. Now the thing is, here we have a scalar and here we have a scalar. So how to take the scalars out of the scalar product or inner product? So here it was very easy. Just what we do, we just take it out. If the scalar is in the second vector, we just take it out. So here the scalar was in the this has to be b psi 2. So if the scalar is in the second vector, here it is in the second vector, here also the scalar is in the second vector, then it can be easily taken out. So it can be written as a phi psi 1 and here b phi psi 2. But look here, the scalar is in the first vector. Here the scalar is in the first vector. So we can't just take it out. So what we have to do is, if you want to take it outside the scalar product, so it should be written like this: a conjugate psi 1 phi plus b conjugate psi 2 phi. So this property is called as antilinear with respect to first vector. So in simple words, what we have to remember is, if the scalar is in the second vector, it can be easily taken out. As it is, it can be written outside the scalar product. But if the scalar is in the first vector, then you cannot write it out of the scalar product as it is. You have to take its complex conjugate. So these are the property number 2. This is the property number 2, that the Hilbert space has a defined scalar product which is strictly positive. So when we get this one scalar product, so we get a complex number. So there should exist a inner product. So this is the second property. The first one we saw that Hilbert space is a linear vector space. The second one is Hilbert space has a defined scalar product which is strictly positive, and when we take the scalar product we should get a positive number. So the third property is Hilbert space is separable, that we'll see. Property number 3 of Hilbert space is Hilbert spaces are separable, and this definition, whatever I have written here, I have taken it directly from the Zetley textbook. Hilbert spaces are separable means there exists a Cauchy sequence psi n belonging to H where n is equal to 1, 2, 3 such that for every psi of H and a small value epsilon greater than 0, there exists at least one psi n of the sequence for which absolute value of psi minus psi n is less than epsilon. And dear students, so this is all mathematical part, and I think in your UG classes you have studied all these things in real analysis. So we will not go, as a physicist, we will not go into the definitions of all these things, but let me simplify this thing, that the meaning of this definition is, so H has a countable dense set, countable dense subset H has a countable dense subset. So that subset we can denote it by psi n. Okay, so Hilbert space has a countable dense subset. So what do you mean by dense subset? Dense subset means every member of H, dense subset means every member of H is either a member of the subset psi n or can be made arbitrarily close to psi n. So this is in simple terms that Hilbert spaces are separable. The next one is Hilbert space is complete. So again, this definition I have taken it directly from Zetley textbook. So the definition is every Cauchy sequence psi n belonging to H converges to an element of H, that is for any psi n, the relation, this limit, absolute value of psi n minus psi m is equal to 0, defines a unique limit psi of H such that limit n tends to infinity, absolute value of psi minus psi n is equal to 0. Students, don't worry about all these things. So just remember, but we will not go into the physical meaning of all these things. But in simple terms, let me tell you, Hilbert space is complete means, so there is no discontinuity or there is no gap. For example, if I take the set of rational numbers, so this is the best example to explain this one. If I take the set of rational numbers, so there will be a rational number here and there will be a rational number here. So we can see that a rational number here and a rational number here. So in between these two rational numbers, there are no rational numbers. So there is a gap. but our Hilbert space is not like this. The Hilbert space is continuous. It's not like the set of rational numbers. So let us consider the set of real numbers. Real numbers has both rational numbers and irrational numbers. So if we have a real number, then there will be irrational numbers. If you take irrational numbers, there will be real numbers. So there will be no gap. So there will be always a member. So that's why here in the definition we have written that it converges to an element of H. So students, in this lecture we have seen the Hilbert space. So the meaning of Hilbert space. So what are the properties that are satisfied by a Hilbert space, and the kind of question which you may get in your university exam is explain Hilbert space. So this question for 10 marks. So if this question comes, so you need to write all the things which we discussed in this lecture, all the things which were written on the board. So you may get some question like explain linear vector space for 5 marks. Then you need to write just the first point about the linear vector space. So this we have studied in this lecture. In the next lecture, we will study some definitions related to wave functions.